Okay, readers, let's jump back into our read aloud of The Year of the Dog by Grace Lynn. This is Chapter 2, How to Get Rich. And there's a picture of the fish, which is probably what I'm guessing is a food that they eat for Chinese New Year. So let's see how the story continues. Time to eat, called Mom. In the dining room, there was so much food. There was a whole fried fish, crispy and chippy and brown, meat fried dumplings, vegetables, shining with oil, steamed buns that looked like puffy clouds, shrimp in a milky white sauce, and pork colored in a brilliant ruby pink. The fish's eyes stared at me. I didn't like that, so I turned that plate around so it would be looking at Lizzie instead. She turned it back towards me, and I turned it back again. Finally, we had it look at Kiki. She didn't notice. Everything we eat tonight has a special meaning, Dad said. These vegetables mean wealth. How about the shrimp? I asked. That means wealth too, said Dad. What does the pork mean? Asked Lizzie. Wealth too, said Dad. All meaning the same thing. Everything means wealth, says Lizzie. All we care about is money. Well, don't you want to be rich? Asked Mom. Yes, Lizzie and I said at the same time. Kiki nodded her head. I want to be a billionaireist, I said. I want to be a gazillionairist, said Lizzie. Me too, Kiki said. Me too. Well, eat this, Mom told us, passing around the fried dumplings. They say this symbolizes golden coins. So if you eat them, you'll be rich. I don't know how they're going to make me rich, I said. They don't look like golden coins to me. Maybe that's what coins look like in the olden days, Lizzie whispered to me. I'm going to eat all of them, Dad teased, and then I'll have all the money and you'll have none. That's not fair, I said, trying to grab some dumplings off the plate. Give some to me. I'll sell you one for $1, Dad teased again. That's how you can get rich. The phone rang again, and this time it was Grandpa calling to say Happy New Year. I bet Grandpa ate a lot of these dumplings, Liz said. Grandpa's rich. Maybe he charged $2 for each dumpling, I joked. Actually, Mom said, Grandpa got rich by doing jobs for free. Did I ever tell you the story about Grandpa's first patient? We all shook our heads, and Mom started the story. So, readers, we are about to hear a story that Mom is going to tell, and the author titles the story for us. How Grandpa Got Rich. When Grandpa graduated from medical school and was an official doctor, he was so proud. But he had a problem. He had no patience, and it seemed like whenever people were sick, they went to someone else. No one wanted to go see Grandpa, a young doctor with no experience. Still, with the help of his parents, he opened a small clinic in his neighborhood. Sometimes his mother would come over saying she had back pain so he could cure her. Sometimes Grandpa used the stethoscope on himself just to make sure it was working. But most of the time, Grandpa sat alone, like the last dumpling on the plate. So this is Grandpa alone in his clinic. And he's wearing his stethoscope because he's a medical doctor. So Mom is describing him like the dumplings on the plate, just one last dumpling sitting on the stretcher in the clinic. Then one night, just when the sky began to darken with the shadows, there was a frantic banging on the door. A street vendor had been robbed and was badly hurt. His clothes looked like dish rags of blood, and his wife begged for help. Grandpa jumped up and worked hard to save the vendor's life. He worked deeply into the night, and he only stopped when the moon hung like a freshly peeled leech in the sky. Finally, the patient was out of danger. Grandpa left him with his wife in the clinic and told them that he would check up on them in the morning. But when Grandpa woke up the next morning and went to check on the patient at the clinic, there was no one there. The bed was made and the room was clean, and there was as clean as an empty bowl of rice. Had he dreamed it all up? Later, Grandpa found out that his patient was very poor, and he and his wife had sneaked away after Grandpa had left because they knew they could not pay him. In fact, right after the accident, the wife had brought the vendor to two other doctors before Grandpa. The other doctors had refused to operate because they knew he couldn't pay. Grandpa, on the other hand, didn't even think about asking for payment. He had just hurried to save his life. So it looks like Grandpa's first patient is going to go free of charge. Grandpa worried because he thought that it didn't look like a great start to his business. He had his family to support, and they were counting on him to make money as a doctor. Was this first patient a sign of the future? But he shouldn't have worried. Like the smell of roasted pork, the news of Grandpa's good work spread through the village. People were warmed by the fact that Grandpa cared for other people's lives other than money. They stopped seeing their other doctors and came straight to him instead. Soon, he had more patients than he could handle. And that is how Grandpa became rich, Mom finished. Then she looked at the empty table. There's no food left for me. And you see the empty bowl of rice. Okay, readers, in the next video, we will visit chapter 3 called Welcoming the New Year.